And so for tonight, let's go ahead and start on our backs in any comfortable form. Don't worry about if it's a form that you typically see at the start of class. It can be in motion, it can be in stillness. Your legs can be up in the air, out to the sides, whatever floats your boat. And as we're here, I'm going to share with you a poem, a young Pueblo poem that I just kind of enjoy. He writes, self-awareness is noticing the rhythm of your thoughts, feeling when they are clear and when they are out of sync, knowing when to take them seriously and when to let them go. Not every thought is valuable. Most are just the sounds of impulsive emotional reactions. I share this because we talk a lot in this practice about honoring yourself, listening to your intuition. And I think it's also worth mentioning that sometimes we have these defaults or drives or just, neurons firing in our brains that result in thoughts that aren't our intuition, that aren't aligned with what we truly want. And sometimes it can be hard to find that distinction, to know when something is nerves or actual danger and fear. It's, I think, a really prominent example from my own experience. And so as we move through this practice tonight, the invitation is to check in with yourself and notice if you're doing something based off of external factors, or if it's like a nervous system response or a pre-programmed habit, or if it's something that truly feels nourishing. And our goal will be to choose the nourishing thing as often as possible. So as we get ready to start moving here, if your legs are not extended, let's go ahead and extend them long on the mat. We're going to bring our hands down toward our navels. So your fingers can be kind of centered on your belly button. We're going to start with really isolated movements. So think of tilting your pelvis forward. If you picture the bowl of your pelvis, that would mean water's tipping down the front side of your body. On the front sides of your legs, hip bones rocking forward, tailbone rocking back. And then reverse that, so tucking your tail. We're going to keep doing that, but your goal here is to not let your navel and low back get involved. So this is really subtle. If you were to look at your computer screen right now and your own video, you might not even be able to see this movement happening, because that space under your hands is quite still. It's just below it that's moving. Do once more, forward and back. And then we're gonna stop here, take a breath. And you can move your hands up to your low ribs now. So same notion, we'll start with that tilt forward, but this time you can add in your navel and your low back. And then as you tuck your tail, same thing, your low back might even press against the mat. We're finding this motion, extending it up the spine, but not letting the low ribs or that mid-back region get involved yet. Again, it's quite a small movement. Bigger than the last one, because you have more space, but still pretty small. Once more, forward and back. And then pause, release, find a breath. From here, you can bring your arms out to a T. Take a moment to tuck your shoulder blades beneath you and really feel them solid on the mat. That's going to be our point of stillness this time. So as you tilt forward, you can lift through your low ribs and keep your shoulders down on the mat. And then as you tuck your tail, again, it can go all the way up to your shoulders, the motion. At this point, it's perhaps noticeable enough if somebody walked in, they might think you were like a zombie coming back to life is what I always think of doing this. Once more, forward and back. And then from here, your hands can come down to your sides, palms facing down. We're gonna recruit up through the shoulders. So now the back of your head is the stopping point. So as you tilt forward, you can lift even your shoulders up off the mat, maybe just to hover, or they just become light on the mat. And then tuck your pelvis, let your back round into the mat. All right, finding that whole motion. So we're involving more and more of the spine. It takes a little bit longer for each of these pulsations. You might notice if you'd like to match your breath up to the movement. For me, inhaling on the tilt forward feels more natural, and exhaling on the rounding into the mat part feels natural, but do whatever feels best to you. Once more. And gently lower onto the mat. We're going to bring arms out to a T, drag your heels in, legs can come up above toward the ceiling. You might point and flex your toes, circle out your ankles. And then from here, we're going to bend into our knees. You can press a little bit into the pads of your fingers. We're going to draw knees toward left armpit, away through center and in toward right armpit. And keep finding this rocking motion. Let the bowl of your pelvis and the backside of your head be heavy. Doesn't mean they're not moving, it just means there's a certain gravity to them. And if you would like to add in your arms here, you can act as though you're holding a big exercise ball and lowering it to the side that your knees are away from. If you'd like to add in your head, we're going to look over the shoulder that the knees are toward. Soften through your jaw. Relax any facial expression. You can always make these movements smaller or larger, faster or slower. We might continue this for 3, 2, 1. Let's go ahead and bring arms back out to a T. Take a moment with your legs overhead to point and flex, circle out your ankles. And then from here, we're going to lift the hips and start finding little rolls. Just getting into that low back of it. You might feel your core firing up slightly here. Can come back through center, pause here. And then we're going to move our legs as though we're on cross-country skis. So there can be a little bit of a bend in your knees. You can make little shuffle steps, or you can make these big long strides. These are both equal value options. So whichever feels most interesting in your body right now. And if you'd like to add in the arms on this one, you can kind of prep by bringing your elbows to bend, arms toward the ceiling. And then we're going to move opposites. So when your left knee is close, your right arm is up, your left hand is down, and then exaggerate that movement. So think of the poles of your cross-country skis here. And if you'd like to add in the head here, the neck specifically is really what we're working here. You're gonna look over your top arm, letting your head rock side to side, trying to soften through the major muscles of your neck. And we might continue this for 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring feet to the mat, arms out, let your knees knock in. Take a couple of breaths here, feeling potentially some warmth, some muscle activation. We're gonna make our way into a seated form. And to do so, one thing I really enjoy is bringing my arms back up overhead behind me. And then I find those little hip lifts. And with my arms behind me, I can kind of counter and I can slow those rocks a bit. So it's almost toward a plow pose. And then slowly down until I will get enough of that little bit of a self-massage and feel ready to come up to a seat. And then I can move my legs and arms at the same time and pop on up. Okay, from here, we're gonna bring our feet together, knees in toward the chest. Grab your arms around your knees and let your head hang. Maybe your head rests on your knees or on your forearms. Picture the backside of your body like you would a fitted sheet when you're putting it on your mattress. Smoothing it all out, all of the muscles on the backside of your body. On an inhale, you can lift your head. We're gonna keep holding on to our legs, but we'll bring hands to knees for a little bit more space. Draw your chest up, nice proud chest. And we're just going to, from here, keeping the core engaged, lift our chins and look up to the ceiling, noticing where it feels fairly comfortable to look. Maybe marking that spot. If you're outside, it might be more of an awareness of what's in your peripheral vision from here as you're marking spots. And then bring your head back to neutral. Step your feet as wide as your mat. Hands can come back behind. We're gonna lower the knees one way and the other. And the next time your knees are over to the left, let's pause there. Bring your torso upright and then hinge over your left leg any amount and back up. Let's do 2 more of those. Hinge and lift. Last one. As you lift back up, left hand plants behind you. Right arm's gonna helicopter as you lift onto your shins, maybe stretching through your right hip flexor, stretching through your right side body. And lower back down. Come back through center. Maybe take a couple of those windshield wipers side to side. I don't know if you guys can hear my horses, sorry if that's really loud. And lower your legs over to the right. From here, hinging over your right knee and back up. We'll do twice more. Forward and lift. Last one. Lift back up, right hand behind you, left arm helicopters, lift on up. Nice stretch through your left hip, your left side body. And lower down. Come back through center. Now from this kind of squat position, we're gonna keep the left foot planted, maybe even draw it in. The right leg is going to extend. Your right hand can come back behind you, your left hand or elbow can hook around your left leg. Take a moment here to point and flex your right foot. And then to swivel your foot side to side, noticing maybe if it's easier to go into external versus internal rotation at your hip, what you feel like you have more leverage or clearance within. And then we'll go ahead and pause and center. Here we're gonna do a series of movements that they seem kind of funky, but they really work the fascia of your back and your neck and can feel pretty juicy. So we're gonna drag the right heel in and then lower that knee. And so as you're here in this position, you're going to keep a proud chest. You might kind of hang off of your hand on that left knee and try to look toward your bottom of your right foot. Keep your shoulders drawn down. You might feel some length in your left side neck. And then as you lift your head back up, knee back up, and then extend it back out. Okay, we're gonna do that just a couple more times. Drag that heel in, internal rotation, nice proud chest as you look toward the sole of your foot, and back up through center. And if your knee doesn't go all the way down to the mat, that is fine. In fact, I often like to sit on something here. That helps me get a little more space. You can always sit on a block or a blanket. You might notice that that feels a lot more doable in your body. Remember, we're choosing nourishing. All right, the next time your right leg is extended, let's go ahead and pause there. Maybe move through those motions again, side to side, point and flex your foot a few times. And then we're going to drag the heel into external rotation. And this time, same thing, hanging off your left knee, you might look over toward the bottom of your foot, but you might notice a stretch through your right side of your neck as your right hand still reaches down to the mat. Lift back up, right leg extends. Let's bring it back in. Nice proud chest, shoulders drawn down, right hand reaches down as you glance toward the bottom of your foot and go back. Do this just a couple more times. Last one. And gently plant your right foot, both hands behind you. Take a moment to move side to side, rinse that off. All right, we'll go to the second side. So right foot stays in, left leg extends, point and flex. Internal, external hip swivels here. And knowing that the internal rotation is a little intense on my knee, I am gonna go ahead and prop up my seat just from the get-go this time to make it easier on myself. You can always roll up your mat a little bit from the back side as well as an option. All right, so left fingertips behind, right hand to right knee, left heel slides in, knee drops internally, glancing toward the bottom of that foot, and giving myself a moment to check in here, proud chest, shoulders down, stretch through the side of my neck, back up and out. And then replicating that each time. Do a couple more here. Go ahead, extend your left leg. You can move it again in those ways that we've been doing it. And then we'll bring it into external rotation. Bring it in. Again, take your time to find that stretch through your left side neck while you're here. And then we'll just replicate it from there on out. Last one. Extend your leg, move it through those motions. All right, now moment of truth. We're gonna plant our feet again. Same seat as we had last time. Hold on to your knees, sit tall, lift your chin up and back. See where you can see. Maybe it is a different point in space on the ceiling or out of your peripheral vision. And then we'll gently return back up through center. It's always a little profound in my body. I'm hoping it is for you as well. Okay, so from here, we're going to start to move into a little bit more traditional of a flow. And we can do that by getting up to the fronts of our mat, potentially through some rocks or potentially by using your hands. Whatever works for you. We'll come all the way up to standing. On an inhale, arms reach out and up. Overhead, interlace your fingers, turn palms face up. Exhale, lean to the left, hips go right. Inhale through center. Exhale, right, hips go left. Inhale, center. On your exhale, unwind your fingers, fold it all the way down. Fingertips on the mat, step your right foot back. Lower that knee as you inhale. And exhale, step it back to plank pose. Pause here for a moment. Feel that space between your shoulders rise gently. Feel your tailbone tuck. And then from here, we're gonna lower knees, chest, and chin. And then inhale, pull it through for a cobra. Shoulders down and together. Exhale, release. Find your way up and back, downward facing. Take a couple of breaths here because we still haven't been here yet today, or at least in this practice. Think of really lifting your tailbone up. This would be that forward tilt, the anterior tilt of your pelvis, which might be a little more noticeable today than other days since we spent so much time focusing on it early on. When you're ready, inhale your right leg up, maybe bend the knee, opening the hip, circle out that ankle, and then look forward. We're gonna step it forward. Lower your left knee as you inhale, and exhale, both feet to the front, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Interlace fingers, awkward grip. Turn your palms face up, and exhale, lean right. Inhale through center. Exhale, lean left. Inhale through center. Exhale, fold it down. Fingertips on the mat, left foot's gonna step back, lower that knee as you breathe in. And exhale, plank form. Pause here, feel your strength. And then this time, lower knees, rock back to lower elbows, and draw your heart through, landing your pelvis, cobra form. Exhale, release. Find your way up and back, downward facing. Couple breaths here. On an inhale, left leg lifts high, bend your knee, open that hip. Maybe circle out your ankle. Look forward, step it through. Right knee lowers as you take a breath in. Exhale, forward fold at the front edge of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift along the spine. Exhale to release. Inhale, we're gonna find a chair form. All right, from your chair form, nice neutral pelvis, neutral low back. Fingertips to the base of your skull. Your shoulders draw back, your elbows draw back. Now from here, we're gonna press into that, lifting the heart any amount, getting into the thoracic spine, even as the tailbone anchors down toward the mat. We're really finding some traction in the spine here. On an exhale, release the intensity of that. Keep your hands where they are. Torso is gonna come more toward parallel to the mat. Shift into your right foot, lift your left leg, and we're gonna send it back. Maybe you pause at a warrior 3. Lower your toes, release your hands, high lunge. Left hand forward, right hand back. Let's find a twist here. Option to keep the twist open or to lower your right hand, reaching up and over. Let's all unwind. Traditional high lunge. On your exhale, hands interlace behind you. Draw your knuckles away from your body. As you shift towards your front foot, we're gonna get light on that back foot, and we are gonna find a warrior three once again. Think of your hips hugging towards center. And then from here, bend into your left knee. As you come to standing at the front edge of your mat, left knee up in toward your chest. Okay, point your toe. We're going for drama here, okay? We want this to look dramatic, but really it's just gonna be balancing and strengthening. Okay, so hands are gonna reach back. As you open your heart any amount, your leg is a little bit of a counterbalance here. You can always straighten it out for some added intensity. Come back up with your torso. Release your hands. Cross left leg over right, left arm under right. And find your eagle form. Take a breath in. Let it go. Once more breath in. On your exhale, arms unwind. Step your left foot down. Shake that off. Whew. All right, let's counter that right hip before we balance out on the left. Shift into your left foot, feel your hips hug towards center. Catch the top side of your right foot with your right hand. We have options here. With one or both hands, you can draw a heel towards sit bone while kind of kicking into your hand. Or if you want to, that last form kind of got you fired up for drama, then you can always turn this into a bit of a dancer. So left hand reaching out toward parallel and then coming forward. Really try to keep your hips square here though, so that we're stretching the place that we're trying to. Gently release up. Let go of all that. Take a moment standing at the top of your mat. Maybe just feel through how different your right and left sides might feel at this point. And then we can blink our eyes open if they're closed, and we'll prepare to go to side two. So we'll start with that chair form. Nice neutral low back, neutral pelvis, fingertips to the base of your skull. Create some resistance there, even as your tailbone tractions down. Try to open through your heart. Gently release the intensity of that. Bring your torso more toward parallel on the mat. Shift to your left foot. We're going to send the right leg back, maybe pausing for a moment in a warrior three, hips hugging towards center. Lower your right toes. Bring your torso upright, high lunge. On your exhale, open twist to the left. Staying here or lowering for an exalted warrior. Unwind back to high lunge. And exhale, hands to the base of your back. Interlace fingers, non-dominant grip. If you're not sure what that is, it's just the one that feels awkward at this point. From here, hands pull away from your body as you shift forward. And preemptively, you can always stretch out your toes from your pinky toe to your big toe. Try to take up more space as we're getting ready to shift onto a single-footed balance. Find your way into a warrior three. Think outer hips hugging in. And then on an inhale, we're going to bend that right leg, bring the knee up as we come up to standing. All right, now all the drama points here. Point that toe, draw your knuckles away, even as you lift through your heart. Finding a gentle back bend, maybe kicking your right leg out if you'd like. Inhale to lift your torso, release your arms, cross right leg over left, right arm under left. Eagle form. One more breath here. Gently release. Step out of it, wiggle it out. That's a fiery sequence. We're gonna shift into the right foot. Think of hips hugging in already. And then catch your left foot for that counter. Stretching out through the hip flexor, the quad, that just stabilize us through quite a few poses in succession. Again, if you want to, you can think of square hips, right hand parallel to the floor. Find your dancer variation. Gently release wherever you're at. Take a moment at the top edge of your mat to find a few breaths. All right. From here, let's inhale, arms out and up. On your exhale, as your hands come down through heart center, we're going to shift into the left foot again. Bring your right knee up. And with it, as your knee starts to circle out to the right, staying high, 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 your arms spread, you might find a floating half moon, or you might just slow what is essentially a step to the back edge of your mat. Turn both sets of toes out. Take a moment to bend into each leg. And then we're going to turn left foot parallel to the skinny edges. Right foot faces the back edge, warrior two. Settle into this for a couple of breaths. We haven't had a lot of poses where we get to be here for a while. Let's give ourselves a chance to settle. Our next form from here, we're just going to deepen this. So either right elbow to right knee, but keep that intensity through your legs. Try not to completely disconnect from your legs once you lean. Or right hand inside of right foot. On the floor, on a block. You might find some pulsations here. Sometimes, no matter where you're at, it can be fun to kind of work towards straight and then bent again. Not necessarily going all the way straight. One more breath. Come back up through center, warrior two. Pivot your feet to face the corners. Hands come forward. We're gonna lower into the left leg as much as feels workable in your body. Hips can always be half lifted. Make a fist with your left hand, press into it with your right palm as you twist to look over your right shoulder. Gently release from this form on your next exhale. We're going to press back up through center. Take a single moment to straighten out your feet. Inhale, long spine. As you exhale, find a symmetrical, wide-legged forward fold. This can be static or there can be pulsation here. We're not here super long. 2 more breaths. On your next inhale, crawl your spine long. We're going to crawl to the back edge of the mat and so that both hands are inside of the right foot. From here, lower your left knee and we're going to pulse forward and back, straightening the right leg. And then inhaling as you come forward and bend into it. A couple more times. The next time that you pulse back, we're going to pause here for a moment, maybe bending into the elbows a bit, thinking of dragging your hands back on the mat even as your heart draws forward. On an inhale, we'll gently begin to release out of this, bending back into your right leg. Left hand is going to stay where it's at. Lift your left knee. Inhale, right arm opens for a twist. Feel your hips hug in towards center. Let's continue the journey to the right, but just by pivoting on our feet. So now you're on the outside edge of your left foot, your right toes have pivoted to point toward the long edge of your mat. You might lift through your hips and feel a gentle stretch through your IT band. From here, look down toward your left hand. If it's in front of your shoulder, maybe use your right hand to help you plant your left hand more evenly under your left shoulder. So we're gonna lift the right arm up and bring the right leg up, bend that knee and step it behind you now. So we're in a wild thing. And then from here, all we're gonna do is lower the hips down toward the mat until we're facing the front edge. Ah, lovely. Okay, let's take a twist. Left elbow is gonna hook on the right knee. Find a gentle twist, looking over your right shoulder. Ease your way out of this twist. You're gonna catch the right leg and bring it down outside of your hip so you're in a half hero form. If this does not feel okay in your knee, widen the angle, and you can always bend your other leg too. So we're just working on internal rotation of the right hip. So if your legs are bent, you're probably gonna stay there, because I don't know how you would do this next little transition. But if your right leg is right outside of your right hip, we're gonna play around with hands free. I'm like pressing the top of my right foot into the mat here to prepare. Shift forward and over so that you're kind of sitting on your right heel, and then lift up into a low lunge. Beautiful, heck yeah, that's a tricky one. But we're building bodies that when we're like 90 years old, we can get off the floor without assistance. That's the goal. All right, so from here, just stretching into that right hip any amount. That can be hands up, hands down at your hips, hands pressing against your front leg, maybe in a twist or with goalpost arms. So many options here. One more breath is all. And then we'll begin to ease our way out. We're coming to standing at the front edge of the mat. Maybe centering back up if, like me, you've drifted to one side. All right, and we're gonna repeat that sequence on side number 2. Maybe you notice, even right here, how different your hips feel. We'll hopefully balance that out. So to start, hands can be at heart center. Shift into your right foot, maybe a micro bend in that knee as you lift your left knee up. And then we're thinking of that big, tall circle. Arms start to spread, legs starts to reach. Finding maybe a floating half moon. I'm like really unbalanced today. Or lowering your left foot down. Take a moment to bend into one knee and the other. And then we'll orient to a warrior 2 facing the back edge of the mat. Here we have a couple of breaths, a little pause. As we prepare to deepen this, keep your legs how they are. Feel that muscle energy through your groin, through your hips. Either lower your left elbow to your left knee, or left hand can come down inside of the left foot. And again, you might pulse towards straight and toward bent. That can just capture a wider variety of muscles here. Go ahead and come back up to warrior two. From here, turn both sets of toes toward the corners of the mat. Hands come forward and go as deep into your right leg as possible. Right hand forms a fist, left palm presses into it. Look over your left shoulder. As you're ready to ease out, hands can come on the mat. We're gonna lift our hips up. Both sets of toes point toward the long edge. Nice full inhale. On your exhale, find the fold. Here for just a couple of breaths. Use an inhale to ease your way out. Nice long spine. Turn to face the back edge of your mat, both hands inside of your left foot. All right, from here, we're gonna lower the right knee. Nope, we're not. I mean, we will, but not yet. From here, we're gonna lift the left arm and find a side twist. And then on your exhale, left hand lowers. I think I actually did end up doing that out of order after all. Right knee lowers. And we're gonna pulse forward and back between our abducted half split and our abducted lunge or lizard form. The next time that you're pulsed back toward a half split, pause there. Maybe you think of dragging your hands isometrically back on the mat, heart forward. It would be left heel back, right knee forward. And again, there doesn't need to be a lot of intensity there. It can be whatever you want for it to be. These are all just options. Use an inhale to ease forward out of this, back into this lizardy form. Yeah, see, this is where we did the twist last time. I just got ahead of myself. Go ahead, lift your right knee. We will find that twist for just a moment. If nothing else, that you can look down and see where your right hand is in relation to your right shoulder. You might need to move your right hand for more stability. Turn both sets of toes to face the long edge of your mat. Find that IT band stretch. And then from here, really lift your hips, press the mat away, get light in your left leg. And we're gonna bend that knee and step it behind us. Find your wild thing. Lower your hips down and face the front edge. All right, lovely. I'm gonna center back up for myself. Okay, same thing with internal rotation, this time with the left leg. So either set it up in half hero, or you can always do the double legs. And here you could always find some pulsations. We're really just experimenting with that range of motion. If you want to work on the no hands transition, you can always be really light in your fingers. Reach forward, press the top of your left foot into the mat. Think of getting light as you lift your hips first over to the left, and then forward and up, low lunge. Lovely. Option to do whatever you did with your arms last time. One more breath here. As you're ready, we're going to step up to the front edge of the mat. Take a moment to stand, shake that off. And we'll prepare to lower down to the mat for our final forms. We're gonna kind of move through a little bit of tensegrity type work just to settle back down. So hands can reach forward, begin to bend into your legs, let your seat find the mat, land your feet, and then lower your spine from here. We'll start with arms out at a T, feet can float. Let's bring a right knee, right ankle to left knee. And here, we're just gonna pulse from side to side, rocking only as much as you want, still letting your hips and shoulders be heavy. You can always rock your head the opposite direction if you'd like to include it. And then the next time your legs are toward the left, we're gonna lower them all the way down in that same shape. You can look over your right shoulder, or you can keep rocking your head if you're liking that motion in your neck. Gently prepare to ease out of this shape, maybe by moving your right leg first, letting it be a little bit easier in your body. And then from here, we'll bring the left ankle to right knee. Again, find those rocks, maybe starting small, figuring out what feels like a good range for you that's not very effortful, where your momentum can carry you and you're not necessarily having to catch your legs and pull them back up. You can add that rock into your head, going the opposite direction of your legs. And then the next time your legs are toward the right, let's let them land. And you can gaze over your left shoulder or continue rocking your head. Prepare to leave the space, maybe first with your left leg, and then with your right. Perhaps there are some side-to-side wiggles to find some balance again. And from here, you have some options. It might feel nice to land your feet, hands down by your hips, and work on lifting up into a bridge form. It might feel better to round your spine, maybe rounding in and catching your knees, or finding a plow form. Maybe you'd like to take a different variety of a supine twist. Bringing one leg over your body and then the other. And then as you feel ready, you can settle into your final form of the practice. Might be legs up a wall. It might be knees knocked in or feet together, knees wide. Choose something that sounds pleasant to you or inviting to you in some way. As you settle into this place of stillness, let your breath come and go naturally. Release tension through your face, your shoulders, your torso, your hips, your legs, all the way down to your ankles and feet. Sometimes in this place, I like to think of a bird coasting on a gentle breeze. That level of ease, softness, lightness. If you found yourself engaged with the poem at the start of practice, this could be an invitation to revisit that sentiment. Perhaps taking a moment to notice for yourself if there's a recent experience of when your thoughts were just noise compared to an experience where your thoughts were truly meaningful to you. Knowing that both are natural, both are good, both are your brain doing what it does. It just solicits some slightly different reactions. You feel ready to begin the transition from this space. You might begin to deepen your breath. Maybe adding in little wiggles or movements. Letting yourself reawaken in whatever sequence of movements and choices that might look like. We'll eventually come up to a seated form. And on an inhale, arms might sweep out and up, palms touching overhead. And exhale, bringing hands down through heart center. May you have peace.